Hello and welcome to my channel, Making Crafts. Today I'm getting started on my envelope folio gift set, and this will be a 2 or 3 part series showing you how I'm making a gift set that you can put in the mail to send to a friend or pen pal. So for this project I am using Vintage Botanicals by Happiness and Crafting, and this is designed by Gi Kerr. And so I'm just going to give you a quick little flip through of the pages so you can kind of see what they look like. And what I went ahead and done, so I can show you the pages, is just print them all on one side. But I will probably go back through and print these on the back of some of the sheets. And so there's 14 pages in this set, and they're full of different sheets and pockets and tags and ephemera, just different things. And lots of plants and little insects like dragonflies and butterflies. And it's a very pretty set of papers. In all different colors. So this is what I'll be using to cover my envelopes and to decorate today. I will also be using this set of envelopes, well, not the whole pack, but just 3 of these envelopes, and they're A7 envelopes, and I'm not sure how you pronounce the company name there, but this is what, and I think I just ordered these off of Amazon, and I've got the craft colors what I'm using today. But you could use whatever color that you wanted to, because we're going to be covering these anyway with paper. To get started, we're going to take our 3 envelopes and attach them together. So to begin with, though, we need to glue one of the envelopes shut. So what you want to do, though, is you just want to glue right along the top edge of the flap where the glue is that you would normally glue an envelope shut with. You don't want to glue any further down. So that way, because we're going to make this a pocket, and so we need to leave enough, we don't want to glue it shut, in other words. So we're just going to glue just the envelope shut itself, but just glue on the edge. So then we're going to take our paper cutter, and we're just going to cut a little slither off the top and 2 of the sides, the 2 sides. And then you're going to leave the bottom solid. So when you get done, you should have, your envelope should look like this, where it opens up. So now we're going to take this piece and we're going to attach our 2 envelopes, one on each side, and that's going to make the folio part. So what you want to do, I've got a glue string on me. What you want to do is you want to add glue to your entire flap, except for you're going to leave, when you have it in here, you want to leave at least 1/4 of an inch. So you want to eyeball or measure, and I'm just measuring on my mat 1/4 of an inch. And so you just want to be sure you don't add glue there. You just want to put glue all the way on the flap except for 1/4 of an inch from the fold line of the flap back towards the edge. You want to leave 1/4 of an inch, and that's going to help so that when this folio gets a lot of stuff added to it and it gets bulky, that it'll be able to hold all the things. So let me just add that, and then I'm going to take and just line this up. You want to line it up on the inside so that you are sure that it fits at the top and bottom. Have the flap up against the bottom, and then it should be lined up with the top. It should fit perfect. And then leaving your 1/4 inch gap here, and you just want to seal this down. And you're going to do the exact same thing to the other side. Remember not to glue all the way up to your fold line, but leaving 1/4 inch gap. And then you just want to add it inside your flap here. And just leaving 1/4 inch gap there. And it doesn't have to be exact, just leaving a little bit of gap will help so when it gets bulky. Okay. So we've closed both those up. So now you're going to close up this portion. You're just going to run some glue along the edge of this flap here, and that way we're making our pocket. So just run it right along the edge of 2 sides. Leave the top open so that we have a pocket. And there you have your pocket. So now we're going to work on the two sides. So for the first side over here, I'm going to take in my ruler and I'm going to measure up from the bottom about 3.5 inches, somewhere around there. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm just going to put a little line there, and then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to line it up with the edge of the corner. I'm going to line up with the corner of the envelope and then with the marking here. And then I'm just going to draw a very light pencil line. And so then just take your scissors and you're going to cut on that line all the way up to your corner of the envelope. So that this right here, this little piece, is actually going to be free. Okay, and then for the other side, we're going to make a couple of pockets. And so what we're going to do there is we're going to measure up from the bottom. Let me see here. So starting at the bottom, I'll do it on this side. So you're going to measure at 3, just make a little marking at 3, and then again at 6. And I'm going to do it on both sides there, just so I've kind of got myself a straight line. So at 3, and you don't have to do this. You can eyeball and do what size pockets you want. That way you can decide how big a pocket that you want on each one. So then we're just going to, oops, I forgot. I want to make a straight line across. Just a little pencil line there, and just a light pencil line here, lining my markings up, and then we're just going to cut straight across. And then in both of them, just cut straight across on that line. And you could just not draw the lines and just eyeball cutting straight across if you feel confident in that. So you should have freed this flap. And then here's your other pocket. What we're going to do now is up here at the top, you see that this is loose. We want to take and glue that shut. And then on this side, we also want to glue this top flap here. We want to glue it shut. So let's just glue those two shut. Glue that down. And then up here we're just going to add a little glue to this flap. And just glue it down out of the way. And so we will be gluing this pocket down, but we're going to wait. We're not going to glue either one of the pockets down yet because we need to cover it first, and it'll make it easier covering it if you do not glue them down yet. So now let's start covering our folio. So I'm going to cover mine first with book pages, and then I'm going to cover it, use the decorative papers from the kit. But first I want the book pages on it. So I'm going to start on the back side, adding some of the decorative pages first. And I want torn edges for mine. So I'm not really going to do any measuring. I'm just going to hold my ruler, and then I'm going to tear for all the edges, and I'll just hold it up to the envelope and measure that way. So let's see here. I need to take some off the bottom. Okay. And so now we have to measure, because I want to leave a little bit of brown of the envelope around the edge. So then I just take my finger and I'm just going to fold a little crease here where I need to hold my ruler to tear again. So I'm just going to hold it up against there. Eyeball how straight it is. And then I'm just going to tear. And then I'm going to overlap them, so I'm just going to leave the edge solid there because the other jagged edge will be over top of it. So then I'm just going to add that. So let me tear a few more sheets up and then we'll glue them to the page. So you just want to line them up, and once again I'm just going to fold where I want to tear it, and then we're going to hold my ruler on it, just press down and tear. There we go. And then let's see here. That right in here. So just line that up and tear. And let me see. They are about the same height. So then I'm just going to leave that again because I'm going to cover it. So let's get one more sheet out so I can get all of this covered up. And I'm just going to tear the bottom first so I can get my length. I find it easier to hold the ruler and tear holding the big sheet part of the paper instead of just the little pieces. There we go. So then I just want to take and line it up with this one. I'm trying to make them pretty much similar in size. It doesn't have to be exact, just close to the same size so that when they line up on here. So let's just line all that up. We'll dry fit it real quick. Putting this here. I think I'll overlap right there at the spine part of it. And then I can overlap right here again. So I just need to take off about that much. And I'm just going to tear again. Okay. So now let's just add this to the back side, or the cover, I guess is what we would call it. The outside. Whichever way we want to call it. I keep calling it the back side, but I guess it really isn't. I'm just going to center it up in there. Just glue that down, and then we're just going to add the next sheet. And I'm trying to overlap at the spine here so I can strengthen it some. So that way it does strengthen it a bit, gives it more layers and strengthens up the part that's going to be our spine, and that's going to get a lot of bending back and forth. And we're going to be adding more layers on top of this too, so that will help, but they'll be more decorative. And they probably won't be covering the spine as much. It'd be so then let's just center this one up. And I'm okay with that being torn right there at the corner. I think that'll be fine. Okay, oops, that one didn't have enough glue there. Started to tear. Or the glue is just wet. It looks like a lot of glue there actually. Okay, so let's just press it all down. I think my glue's getting a lot of strings today. Put that lid back on so it don't dry out. So now what we want to do is take our bone folder, and you just want to hold it along the edge here and just help to make that crease in your where we scored it earlier. Well, actually we did not score it. let me show you how to score it. So what you want to do is you just want to score right along the edge where we left that 1/4 inch gap. You want to score right along the edge of the envelope where it attaches to the flap of the other one. You just want to lightly score along that edge, and then you want to do that on the other side as well. Just lightly score along the edge of your envelope. Hopefully you can see that. So that gives us a 1/4 inch gap there. And then you're just going to fold up on your score lines. Maybe mine, I might need to go a little harder with that one. You want to be careful that you don't tear your paper and envelope, but you do want to press hard enough to get that line in there. Do this side again too. There we go. So then we're just going to fold it over and press it down with our bone folder. And then we're going to do the same thing to the fold line that was already for a flap. And that way we're getting our score lines in there and getting our spine sort of so that it's thick enough that we can put some things in this. We're just folding all those lines and scoring. And so that way, let me show you, you will have, see, it gives you some room to add things inside there. So now let's decorate the inside. Well, we're going to cover the inside first, then we'll decorate. I said that wrong. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing to the inside. I'm just going to cover it with book page, and I'm just going to slide it in. So I just need to measure sort of where I want my edges to be. So let me see here. I just need to tear a little bit off the top here so I can have that torn look on the edge. Oops, I didn't want to tear there. Okay. And let me just see how that fits down in there. And that's why we didn't glue anything shut yet, because you want to be able to slide it up against that edge. Let's see here. I think that's going to be perfect. And then I'm still going to add that there. I'm trying to look. Do I want to add that? And yes, I'm going to cover the whole back, so let's just do it that way. Let me tear this edge just in case it does get seen. I don't think it will be, but I'm trying to make decisions as I'm just creating this as I go. And I have a little plan in my head, and I'm just going with it. So let's just add a little glue. Put some along those torn edges. So then we're just going to slide it inside that pocket. And my pocket lets you go all the way down to the bottom, so that's what I'm going to do. And just slide it in. And then I'm just leaving that little edge showing of the brown envelope at the top and some at the bottom. Okay, there we go. We just glue that down. And then I need to get another piece. I just want to cover again. So let me just tear some of the edges first. We're just going to do the same thing all the way across. Okay, so now that you have your paper torn, what I do is I am going to add, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the paper to both sides, and then I will add paper to the center. So let me get that done right there. So I'm just going to add this, and this one came up a little short at the bottom, but that's okay because this other one is going to overlap it anyway. So that's why I'm putting the two on the side, and then I let the center one overlap both like that. So I'm going to go ahead and add, oops, I'm going to go ahead and add those. And you can tell this is from a fairy tale book. It's about a giant, I think. Maybe it's Jack and the Beanstalk. I'm not really sure. I think it does say something about Jack on the pages. So let me just, I'm going to slip that right down in those little corners there so that they go right in there. And then I'm just going to attach it right here in the middle. And then once again, we need to work on our little fold lines to make sure that they're back, because we don't want to lose those. So just take again, get your bone folder and press on those. So let me get my bone folder. We're just going to press on each one, making sure that we add a little, keep our little edge there. It's going to get a little harder to press, so you just want to be sure to work with it. Just a little harder to get that groove in there. I'm just going to fold it over again and press. And there we have, so you can see by doing that, we keep getting that extra there for us. Okay, so now, let's make sure everything's glued down good. So now we have all this covered, and I'm trying to decide if I want to cover these with the book pages, or do I just want to cover them with the paper. And I think that I'm just going to cover them with the decorative paper and see how that looks. So I think first though, I want to get some brown ink, and I want to ink up, and I'm using, it says it's like a chocolate chip. It's an older ink that I have. And I'm just going to use it to ink the edges here, just a little bit, so that it goes along with the papers. So I'll be back with you when I get through inking them. So now let's go ahead and cover this pocket. So what I'm going to do is just slide the paper. I went ahead and cut around mine because my printer does not print borderless, so I had to cut the white off. And then I'm just going to slide it in here, and then take a pencil and just trace real lightly around the edge of the pocket. Okay, and so then I've done the same thing over here. What I've done is I've slid it in here, and then I traced around the edge of the pocket here. So I'm just going to take my paper cutter, and I'm going to cut on those lines. So let me see here. We'll cut this line first, a straight one, so I don't waste all my paper. So I'm going to cut right on that line, and then I'm going to cut on the other pencil line. And let's see here. So now I want to make it a 1/4 inch smaller, so that when I put it right here, it will be right within those lines. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to take a 1/4 inch off of this side. So let's just measure. So it's almost 4, so I'm just going to take a 1/4 inch off of this side. And then the bottom, I'm going to have to take some off because I did put it inside there, so it's going to have to be, actually I may not need to after cutting that much off. So let me see, I'm going to cut just a little, not even, probably about 1/8 of an inch off of the bottom. And now let's see how that fits. And I like how that fits. And so now I'm going to cut my other one, and I'm just going to cut it on the pencil line. And then I'm going to have to cut it in 2 since I have, so that's what I'm going to do next, is I'm just going to cut it, let me see here, I'm just going to make a mark with my pencil where the pockets are, and then I'm just going to cut that into there, and then it's probably going to need to be just a little smaller so that it can have some edge around it. So let's just cut it cut 1/8 off here, and here, and I think just a little bit more. So we have that pocket, and then I'm going to cut this one down. then we have this pocket covered. Okay. And then I've also went ahead and I've cut the pieces that's going to go inside the pockets. And what I did is I have this paper cutter here that has all different shapes on it. And so I've just used this shape to cut the edges of my paper so that it's not completely straight, but not a torn edge, but sort of. So I'm just going to apply some glue and add these to the inside of the pockets. And then I'll add the other ones to the outside. And I've went ahead and inked the edges on these as well so that they would be ready to go. So I'm inking the edges on all of it since I'm having to cut it down. The edges of the paper has an inked look, but once you have to cut all the pieces off, you have to go back and re-ink it. So I'm just going to slide that in there. And I'm just leaving a little edge around it. And I also want to be sure that I don't glue this onto my score line where the book is going to close, or the folio is going to close. And I'm just going to press this down and wipe off any of the excess glue. And so now I'm just going to glue this down as well now. Just press that down. We're through decorating there. And so then I'm going to have to ink this. So let's go ahead and add this one first. And then I'll go through and ink those. Sliding it up under here as well, and once again on this side, make sure you don't get on your score lines. And just line this up. Okay, just press it down, and then you just want to glue this little piece here down at the bottom if your envelope has it. Not all of them will. And then let's see here, I think we'll go ahead and add the paper to that one and then we'll glue it down. So let me go ahead and ink these edges. Oops, sorry. Let me go ahead and ink these edges and then I will be right back with you. Okay, so I inked all the edges and now I've added these to the pockets. So now before I glue this pocket down, I want to go ahead and go in here and just use my circle punch and just punch out a half circle. And I'm just going to eyeball the spot, and that's the little dip in where you can see the little pocket. And I'm going to do the same thing to this one. And I'm just going to, like I said, center it up, eyeballing it, and then just punch it out. And there we go. So now I can go ahead and glue my pocket down. And I think what I'm going to do for this pocket is I'm just going to glue the one side so that things can go all the way down. And let me show you what I'm talking about, so that I can put longer stuff in here and it can go all the way down to the bottom. So I'm just going to glue the one side on this one. And just glue it down. And then on this one, I'm going to just glue the little edge here because the rest is already glued down. And I'm going to add just a little bit more glue right here because I don't think that got glued enough. And then I'm going to cut a piece to go in the middle here. And so I'm just going to show you how I use this paper cutter to do that. And so this is the We Are Memory Keepers, and I'm not really sure the complete name of it, but it's it has all the different shapes that it will cut on the edge of your paper. And so I'm going to cut this one. First I'm just going to cut me an edge here, doing the little wavy torn look. And then, this is thicker paper, so it doesn't, haven't learned the pressure for it. Okay, Okay, so then I'm just going to cut that edge, and that did better. And then I need it to be, let's see here, 5 inches wide. So let me get that lined up. And then it's got to be 7 inches long. And there we have it. So that will go right there in the middle. And then I'm just going to ink those edges, and then I'll glue it to the middle of our little folio. Just be sure when you glue the centerpiece on that you are centering it up and not getting on your score lines. And it is harder to see with this paper, book paper that I put down, so I'm just having to hold it up to make sure that I'm getting it even in between there. And then you just want to be sure that it's centered up and that you're not messing up your score lines. Let's move on to working on the right flap on the back side of it. And I'm going to be using these pockets that came with the kit, came with the Vintage Botanicals kit. And so what I've done is just cut the pockets out, and then I used my 1-inch circle punch just to punch these. You could cut with your scissors, but I just used my punch to make it look nice and smooth. And then I've just inked around all the edges. And so now what I'm going to do is just add these to the back here, and I'm going to layer them on top of each other so that they are pockets, but I'm going to make it so that the bottom pocket will be glued on 3 sides and the others will only be glued on 2 sides so that the longer pieces can fit down in there. So let's just start with the bottom one. And there's several of these pockets in there, but this is the ones I've chosen to use. And actually I want to switch it around. This one's going to go on the bottom. I want that butterfly at the top there so it doesn't get covered up. And so for the bottom, you're just going to go straight across the bottom and on the 2 sides. And there we're just going to attach it right here. And I'm just trying to center it up on my page, and then I'm just leaving a little bit of a gap down here at the bottom for it. And then this one's going to go next, and so before it dries I'm just going to add it underneath there, and I'm just going to glue it on the sides here, and I'm just going to slide it right in, raise that up just a little and slide it right in there. I'm not going to press down too hard yet. I'm just going to, so I have this one ready to slide in, and so I'm just going to glue it on the sides as well. Just down both sides. And then I'm just going to slide it right up under this one, right here. And it pretty much is the same length gap here as up here, not too far off. Maybe just a little off, but not much, so I like that. So that was a really simple pocket to make. So there we've gotten that. So now let's move on to, I went ahead and added these papers to the front and the very back. And it's just the same pieces that I was using on the inside here. And I've just cut those with my little trimmer that does a little wavy edge. And then I've got to decide how I'm going to decorate the cover. To decorate the cover, I've pulled out some pieces here, a book page and some butterflies that I have stamped and punched out, and I have also pulled out some different pieces that's in the kit, as well as some pieces that I've stamped and cut out. And we're going to just see if we can decorate a little thing up for the cover. And I'm just going to play around with a few things and see what I come up with to decorate the cover. So I'm thinking that I will tear some more paper, book paper, and then I'm going to try to decide how I want that. Do I want words around it, or do I want it like this? I'm trying to decide. So let's just see here. Just tear a piece, And then take a look at it. Maybe tear a little bit off the top. Okay. We're getting there. I think I'm going to tear it myself instead of with the ruler. I like it to be just a little bit rougher looking. Let's see here, if I do it like that, and it's going on the cover here, so just I want it to stand out some, and I'm not so sure that it is going to stand out with these papers. Just going to see here. I will need to ink it up some. I think that's going to help a lot for it to stand out. Okay, and then I did it like this. Let's see if it'll fit on the cover. So if I do it kind of like this, and then I'm going to ink some more of that edge there. Let me get my inks out. I was trying to use what was left on the sponge, but I think it needs a little bit more added to it. And so I just really want to ink it up a lot around the edges. Really want them to stand out. And then I'm going to stick this on here. And let's see, I've got several little things I could add. I could put like a little stamp there, like a little 2-cent stamp. This is from a Tim Holtz stamp set that I have. And then I do have some butterflies that I've stamped and punched out. And I stamped it on the paper, some of this background paper that came with the kit. So there's a little butterfly that could go on it. Let's see, I kind of want my tag to be up straight. And just kind of liking, just keeping it kind of simple. Maybe keep it simple, kind of like that. And oh, I wanted some lace. Wait a second, let me try this lace here. I was thinking about trying a piece of lace. So let's just lay this here and see, get an idea how that would look. Set all this aside. And add just a little strip of lace here along with the, do like that. Just take all this off and then I'm going to start gluing. So I'm just going to glue the lace on first and it's going to go right here. So let me take and just add some glue to it and then I'll cut it off once I get it to the point where I like it. So I was thinking about right here, so just add a little glue down the front. I'm just going to glue one little side at a time so I can just make sure this is in the right spot. Glue the other side down. Okay. There we have the lace on, so let me get my scissors and trim this lace off. Just want to trim it right up with the, I'm lining it right up with the paper that I cut that's decorating the front. So let me get this, okay, so let me get it glued down good. Make sure it's all how I like it. Okay, so now I'm just going to add the paper, and it's going to go something like this, kind of crooked like, so I like that. It's amazing what all you can just do with the old book pages and how far one book will go. I feel like these books will last me forever, just where I just add bits and pieces anyway of them. It seems to just last forever. But when I get through with this book, pulling out the pages, I'm going to use the cover for a journal cover. So I'm planning on using the whole entire book when I get done. If I ever get through using all the pages up. I may have to eventually decide just to go ahead and take the pages out. So we'll see. But for now, I've been using this book for lots of journals. Just going to get some glue and get this glued down. Glue it right here. I'm trying to make it straight on the paper. Just add it down here. And then I'm just going to slide this little stamp right up under it. Over on this side here. I think up in here because the butterfly is going to be down here. So I'm just going to put the little butterfly on. And I wonder what the butterfly would look like with one of these pearls. I wonder if this color would look right on this one. Yes, I like that. Just going to add a couple of little pearls to them. Let's see if we can turn that up a little bit. Add some dimension to that. Okay, so let me put my. Looks really good. I like how that cover has turned out. So now I've got the cover done and the inside pockets made, and then this page I'm still going to decide how I'm going to do it. And then we have the pockets done here. And we have the pockets that's on the inside of our envelope. So in the next video, I'm going to start making items to go inside of our folio for our gift set. And so be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload the next video so you don't miss the next one in this series. And thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.